Aries, guess what? It's your turn. Here we go. This is you, Aries. Oh, hold on. Okay, that's better. This is you, Aries. That's you, Aries. This is Tarot Lumination. This is your love and relationship report for July 2017. Okay, it's between you and the significant other. Now, if you happen to be single and you're watching this and you're wondering how is this going to work for singles, please understand that, like it or not, whether you know it or not, you're radiating the energy of love anyway in the context of relationship, and it may not be manifesting in your life, in your world right now, but through the laws of attraction, you can attract that energy. So it's almost like an as if, let's say the other entity, the other person is over here, okay? And so this is like, what if? This is what would happen if, okay? So what was the other thing? Oh, I'm supposed to keep shuffling. Sorry. So please watch. There are 14 videos in this playlist. 2 specials. One, the introduction. Please watch that. It'll help you understand this reading better. And also, please watch the behind the scenes video if you really want to kind of get into it. All right? Really understand what's kind of going on here. This reading is for you, Aries, about your relationship with a significant other, on the understanding that this is a chosen relationship and you are invested in each other, at least to some degree, okay? We don't do flyers here. I don't do jumpers. I don't have any kind of magic oracles. Don't even do reversals. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. I try to keep it really bare bones, simple, and stripped down, so we can just get to the basics and come up with some sort of narrative that might help you through the month, okay? What's the other thing? Oh, yeah. I'm sure you've done this before. Just read for your sun, your moon, and your rising. Squish it all up, okay? Because this might sound like a weird reading to you, because it might just not fit for you. But when you put it in the context of others, like some people have different sun, different moon, different rising, and a whole bunch of other stuff too. And like it or not, these tarot readings are broken up according to your sun sign. So that's how it is. But you can use it for the moon and the rising. Okay. Because they're all very significant in how relationships play out. So, let's just get rolling, okay? Let's just do it. There's not enough time in the world, is there, Aries? That's how it is for you guys. You just have to keep rolling, just got to keep moving onward and upward. Okay, I'm just messing up the shuffle here completely, but hey, at least we're getting through it. Okay, I just need one last chunk, okay? The cards are already pre-shuffled before we even roll, but I like to take it right up to the last second so that you are a witness. All right, here we go. This is your cut, Aries. I'm going to do a very extreme cut because I need to break up the energy of the cards so that they are clear and they're working for you. Let's say this is you and your energy, okay? Let's say this is the significant other and their energy. Going deeper, 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 deeper into you, Aries. Okay? This could be anything. Dark and shadowy or bright and sparkly. We don't know. And it's the same for a significant other. That's the whole point of doing these reports, is so we can kind of get under the hood, you know? Find out what's going on. And here's the status of the relationship itself. Now remember, if you watched those videos, you'll understand that in the context of a significant relationship, we're working from the understanding that there's you, there's an other, and then there's the relationship itself. And the relationship has a specific identity of its own, which needs to be honored and respected in order for the most healthy outcome of the relationship. So in other words, you're not interacting me, you, me, you. No, it's I love you very much. I love you very much. What can I do for this relationship? Oh, well, I was going to ask you, what can I do for this relationship? And you put it into the relationship. You vest yourselves and invest in the relationship. So where does that take us? Like this is the momentum of where things come through towards the end of the month, all right? And underneath it all, like to think of it as weather, supportive weather, where let's just say, like with weather, it's just out there. It's what's out there, and you make the best of it. And the weather could be very conducive and supportive. It could be very hostile, but either way, you make the best of it, okay? And it can send you signals. Like there can be rainbows in the sky. There can be treacherous, ominous clouds. There could be winds and storms and lightnings. But whatever it is, you deal with it, okay? And you optimize because that's what you do, Aries. You're a warrior beast of love. Do 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 do. Har. So what have you got? Well, you've got the Hierophant. Ha 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 ha. So Aries, it seems like you're in an environment now, a supportive kind of environment, which is very conducive to locking things down and creating order and structure and formalities and formalizing a very significant relationship. Even to the point where some readers call this a marriage card, where it's formalizing, you're creating vows, you're setting up a structure where you're actually defining the 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 structure of the crucible. In other words, hi honey, we're going to do this, okay? And the other one's going, oh, okay, all right, I get, yeah, I'm up for it, let's do it. And we're going to organize it and do it properly. And so you kind of write out a code, you write out a rule book. That's what the Hierophant's all about. It's creating a higher order that's a universal law. It isn't just subjective law, it's universal law that trumps all law and all order for the better good of the whole relationship, not just for you, not just for them, but for the relationship. And so the the environment is very conducive to locking it down and creating an order and structure that works for both parties. Typically, that would be called an engagement or a marriage. All right. So let's have a look. What's going on with you, Aries? Oh, it might be feeling like it's all too much. Can you actually handle this? Is it overwhelming? Like maybe this is something that you really wanted and the conditions are very conducive, but you might be just like wiped out from like going through the experience. Now, we don't know, Aries. This is just for all sorts of Aries people. This you might be single here. You might be deeply enmeshed in a long-term relationship. It might be something that's blossoming and still new. But either way, the environment is very conducive to structure and order and formalization for both parties. However, in the process, in the context of the relationship, you might have been having to endure and go through tremendous stresses, okay, where you were brought to the maximum level of your capacities to carry through, okay? You're going to be fine, okay? You can do that, but it's almost at the point where you felt like you could have been crushed or ruined or destroyed by the intense pressure. And that could be very, very characteristic of what goes on in the crucible. The structure that we're talking about here, the structure of the relationship, from the perspective of tarot illumination, has the identity of a crucible, and a crucible is a structure that can withstand astronomical pressure, the worst of the worst, like nuclear fusion. Okay, where you bring these two like disparate energies and you put them in this crucible and stuff happens and it ferments and it boils and then it blossoms and beautiful stuff happens, but it has to go through these crushing kind of alchemical divinations, and that's what happens in a crucible. But the crucible, if it's a good healthy relationship, the crucible will endure, so that no matter how much, no matter how burdensome, it'll all be okay in the end. Okay, and you will be able to relax. But for now, it might feel like you're maxed out and burdened with trying to figure it out and understand it all the way it's going right now at this moment in time, even though it has these prevailing conditions which are actually quite wholesome. So let's have a look. What's going on with the other? Oh, they're just working at it. They're just minding their own business, taking care of their side of the business, you know. It is a business. Like, let's just face it, Aries. Like, when you get into a significant relationship, it isn't just lovey-dovey. Oh, 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 yeah, yeah, woo, let's do it. No, it's essentially, if you're looking especially at this card, the Hierophant, it's a business contract. You're making vows. You're writing out a code of life, a way of being to which you both agree to honor and respect and adhere. Okay. And in that context, it seems, dear Aries, that you're dealing with a significant other who is fully aware of that. And from their perspective, they're just doing what they have to do to honor their side of the deal. Okay? Just think of it as business. It's just taking care of business. You have a significant other that they're just taking care of business, doing what they have to do to lock it down so that they can hold up their side of things. And they're very, very focused to the point where, you know, maybe you might not feel like you're getting that much support, okay? Because they're just focusing all their energy into doing what they have to do to stay vested in the relationship so that the relationship has the chance of perhaps reaching this level of stability, okay? So we'll see, because obviously this significant other over here already has an awareness of the value of what's going on. They sense it and they feel it, and they are willing to invest in it, and they're willing to do the work for the long term. And that's just how they are right now, okay? No problems there. It may not feel very romantic. I mean, these two energies may not feel romantic at all right now. And this is a love and relationship reading. And a lot of times people just want everything to be fuzzy wuzzy and nice and gooey and cuddly. But sometimes relationships, there's a lot of work that has to go on. And you might already have been doing a lot of work just to get to where you are in the context of the relationship. And they're still busy doing what they're doing. Yes, you might be passionately involved, but it's to the point where you're being maxed out. Can you actually handle it? But you're okay. All right? Let's go deeper inside of you, Aries. Let's have a look. Do. Maybe it's too much for you. Maybe you're feeling like this. Is this going to work out? Is this going to let you end up leaving you feeling impoverished? Are you heading in the right direction? Are you dealing with a significant relationship, somebody somewhere who is maybe very consumed with the work and very good at bringing home the you know, just, you know, being there for substance, but there's no love, so to speak, okay? So this might be very honorable. You might be dealing with someone who's very honorable, but maybe the love is gone because they just who they are and do what they do, and they just take everything else for granted. And that can leave you in a situation of wondering, like, why am I putting so much into this? Why? When, like, where's the love, so to speak? Maybe there should be more love energy as opposed to just like, you know, taking care of business and living through appearances and going through the motions. So deep down inside, regarding a significant relationship, you might be feeling impoverished, okay? And it might be like not your fault, not their fault or anything. It's just circumstantial. And wondering where this energy comes from, like wondering, like, are the vows worth it here in this particular relationship? Is there a structure and order that is maybe too oppressive or obsolete, and it's just like, you know, doing things by the book because you do things by the book, and it's just like a circumstantial situation rather than like a truly let's say a deliberately chosen relationship that's founded on the energy of love, okay? So if deep inside of you, Aries, you may be questioning yourself, and you may be thinking like, have I made the right decisions? What's been going on all this time? Um, why am I feeling, if I'm honest with myself, why am I feeling this sense of impoverishment here? Because it almost doesn't make sense, especially if you've got someone who's, doing what they do and they're holding up their side of it to the best they can. And you've been like doing everything you can, but maybe you're just at the end of your rope and you just can't take it anymore. And you're starting to see things from a different perspective and realizing that, well, you know, it's just like with no judgment and no harm intended. It's like, if you're okay, I'm just going to come out with it. Sometimes we can make decisions out of innocence and immaturity that eventually mature when we realize that the decisions that we made were made out of innocence. There's no harm intended, but it leads you to a place where you realize a certain chosen relationship has led to a point of like, um, I don't want to say poverty of heart, but it's just, it's not crippling, it's not debilitating. It's just that it's just like, I don't know if I can go on with it anymore. I don't think I can handle it anymore because it's just like, I don't, I don't want to hurt your feelings, Aries, here, but it's just like we're done with this. I'm sick of being impoverished in relationship. I don't want to talk about it because this is very deeply hidden inside of me. Because you might be very deeply invested, and they might be very deeply invested and willing to continue to be deeply invested, but they're just over in their own world, doing what they do, taking care of business, just assuming on autopilot because that might have been how it's been living for a long time, according to a code that might have been established long ago that might be becoming redundant in this present moment in time, which is leaving you in a very awkward position of feeling um, like, oh, what have I done? How did I get to this point where after all of this time, I'm now feeling like this? And there might have been a time in the past where you felt you had it all, and that's great. But sometimes it can take a long time to realize that we make decisions and we live 99% of our life related to other people's, relating to others, intimating, integrating in ways that we just kind of take for granted. And sometimes we realize that, wow, I didn't know it would end up this way. I had all the best intentions going in, but now there's a sense of impoverishment between us. And that's just how it is. And no harm intended. And to the point where, like, I'm not even sure if I can handle it anymore. I just wanted to put it all down and move on and see what else happens. We don't know. Let's just keep going with the reading. What's going on inside of them? Well, deep inside of them, they might be wondering things about themselves. Like, even if it's not spoken, even if it's not expressed, they might be evaluating their own situation and the worthiness of what's happening here. Because there's a tremendous amount of like capacity here. And it's very well intended and it's very solid, okay? However, uh, there's not a lot of love cards here, so to speak. So it could be in a situation where you have a significant other who is just, they're just doing what they do, doing what they do, doing what they do. And inside of them, they're wondering, like, if they're honest with themselves, they're wondering what the heck is going on with this relationship? Where is the value here anymore? And you see all these pentacles here. It's about the value of the relationship and where it feels like maybe there was a period where there was great value, but the value is decreasing and decreasing to the point where you're not even seeing the value anymore because um, it's not that it's exhausted. It's just that the relationship may have been founded on codes and practices and rules and conditions that were pre-existing in a way where you didn't have much say. and now you're having to deal with the consequence, and it's burdensome, and it's leaving you feeling impoverished, but you don't want to express it. This is buried inside, and they're evaluating things as well deep inside, like, where is this going? And why am I continuing to put all this effort in and honoring this thing where deep down inside I'm pondering like the fruits of my labors? If it's leading to this, if deep down they are going through a very private evaluation and they're sensing deep down, because you're in a relationship, you have intuition, they have intuition, they are sensing that you're feeling impoverished too, then that would make them want to question the health of the relationship themselves. Except this is hidden energy. This is buried deep inside both parties, and it might be very uncomfortable for both parties to admit any of these energies or deal with any of these energies. Okay? No judgment here. This is just a little like broad energy type reading for you, Aries. We're not dealing with details or specifics. We're not fortune tellers, okay? Tarot Illumination is just another random tarot channel, okay? With all the best of intentions. Let's look at the status of the relationship. Okay, it might be that the relationship is going through a balancing where it's like it's coming into its own truth, where both parties are, let's say, maybe even in a very uncomfortable way, coming to this point of evaluation, not well, with themselves, with their selves, and with each other, where uh, things need to be balanced out and reckoned out and healed in such a way. And perhaps it may be that these energies that are like simmering inside yourself and simmering inside another need to be exposed and brought to the surface and harmonized in such a way so that there is no harm. Harmony as opposed to harm. Okay? Now, I don't know from this reading how to do that exactly. All I'm suggesting with this reading here is that the status of the relationship is that it's like, it's almost like both parties need to like be honest with each other and come to the truth of a situation and come to kind of like a blessing and a healing. Like if there are issues that are indicating that like a structure, a pre-existing structure, preordained structure might be becoming redundant, obsolete, then that's okay. Let's accept it and let's heal. Let's bless it with love and just deal with it as it is, and not because there's a lot of like indication here of living through appearances. Like they're way off over here doing what they do, you're way off over here doing what you do, and this is kind of isolated energy, and this is very burdensome, frustrated, burned out, kind of like I can't take it anymore energy. And you know, sometimes people are very deeply vested in each other, and they don't want to mess things up because they do have structure, and structure can be very, very valuable over the long term. However, if it's become redundant, where let's say it's obsolete, then you have a serious problem. But because there's so much vested already, all these pentacles indicates a lot of vested energy in self and other, then if there is something out of whack that needs to be addressed, it needs to be done in a very loving way so that there is like no remorse, so that it's done with the best of intentions, so that it actually can be like a healing experience, a blessing experience where both sides bless each other and allow each other to be who they are, truly who they are, even if it involves accepting an honest an honest an honest like encounter where it's like, you know what, if I'm honest, I've been thinking and feeling this about us, and if I'm honest, I gotta tell you, I've been thinking and feeling this about us. I just didn't want to say anything. Well, I didn't want to say anything either because I don't want to mess things up because we are very deeply invested. Okay? And so that's actually kind of awkward. So, with the status of the relationship being temperance, it might be that the appropriate way to conduct yourself right now, Aries, in the context of relationship is to be very temperate, very, very balanced, very cautious, very considerate of a loved one, of a significant other, if things are in this kind of condition, because there's no harm here. There's no harm anywhere here. There's nothing malicious going on. It's just that we're dealing with codes and structures that seem to be like have reached a point of obsolescence where it's like, what do we do anymore? Where else can we go here? Kind of thing. And it needs to be addressed in such a way so that it's very, very healing, very, very, very gently handled between yourself and a significant other, so that there is ultimate blessing and an ultimate understanding that you are divinely blessed in your own way in the context of the relationship. However, the truth needs to be acknowledged here. There's no truth cards here, but we're just talking about hardcore reality check. Okay, both parties almost need to be really open and honest with each other and do this in a very, very, very loving, caring, courteous way where these disparities need to be addressed. These hidden energies between both parties need to be faced and addressed. What's the momentum? Where does that take things? Okay. It could be the death of it. It could be the end of things. It could be the transformation of things. The beauty about the death card is it allows for new beginnings. It's the, what's that saying they have? Like, whatever is mine comes to me, whatever is not mine moves away. And it's allowing for the inevitable process of evolution to occur in a natural way. In other words, the honorable thing to do, the most loving, caring thing to do would be to allow the transformation to occur. No matter how painful, no matter how uncomfortable or undesired, no matter how much both parties might wish to avoid this, or matter if it's just you, Aries, and you want to avoid this, maybe they're not even aware at a very conscious level, but the chances are deep down, honestly, if both parties are really open and honest with each other, they may be very aware of this disparity here, of this impoverishment. No harm intended. It's just like things have led their course, and there's an awareness deep down that things need to be addressed, but they need to be addressed in a very, very, very loving manner, in a very courteous, loving manner, so that there's no harm intended here. And that will open up the inevitable energy of transformation, because what seems to be happening for you, dear Aries, is that ultimately, in the context of this significant relationship, there is a profound transformation that is happening where it looks like old codes, redundant codes, are collapsing and dying, and they need to be allowed to collapse and die in a very, very, very loving way. Okay. And so that the new can unfold, because now remember, Aries, this is your reading for you. This is not a couple's reading. The other party is not here. We're reading about you for your reading in perspective, from your perspective, and it still allows for the other party, so to speak. But they are not present, okay, in this reading. Their energy is, but they are not. So the momentum of the relationship dynamic through July may lead you to a point where this is how it is. We are divinely blessed. We always were divinely blessed, but the reality check is that this is how things are right now. There's no harm intended. There's no grief, sorrow, misery about this. It's a reality check, and both parties obviously had tremendous investments in love and care in each other in their own way. Uh, but it's almost like the truth needs to be faced here, even though there's no truth cards. Let's just say reality needs to be faced here, and allow. In other words, let's say you, dear Aries, you to make a decision that this is no longer acceptable because this is very unhealthy to continue in this way, even though they may be happy to continue it in this way and would rather not deal with the issues at all. You might be at the point where you realize you're going to have to do it because you can't handle it anymore. You've got the 10 of Wands here. And in so doing, that puts you in the very burdensome position of having to take charge and initiate the healing process and the alchemical process that has to occur in this relationship to allow the transformation to occur. And if something has to die, you let it die, but in a very, very graceful, loving way, so that whatever is redundant and obsolete can be allowed to move on and allow for the new to unfold. Because guess what, dear Aries, right over here, sorry, the autofocus doesn't work too well on this situation. I don't know why. It's the most expensive camera I could get, but it goes wacko with the focus. But anyway, if you look really carefully, Aries, by being willing, very courageous and willing, and very, very loving, and understanding that you are blessed from up above, regardless of what you have to endure here, this is going to open the portals to the transformational energy of the healing power of love. Okay, that is your responsibility to conduct in this situation, because this is your reading about your relationship with a significant other, so that the transformational processes can occur in a way that is healthy, not in a way that's terrifying or brutal or ugly, but in a way that is healthy, so that all the love that existed between yourself and another, in whatever context, in whatever form that love was expressed, is still there and honored and respected. And if it needs to, I don't want to say the word. I just don't want to say it, okay? You can see it enough from the imagery here. And it's like the most loving thing to do is allow for the transformations to occur. I don't even want to say this word here because sometimes it just scares people, literally. But it's like the death card on its own. Just let's say we were reading for the death card on its own. It's about the cutting of ties, whatever is no longer serving you, dear Aries, or the other. It's just obsolete. It's done and done. It needs to be cut. In other words, that's the most graceful and loving thing you can do right now, is to allow that cutting to occur for your benefit and for the benefit of a significant other. And you move on accordingly, only understanding that this opens the doorway to new growth and new transformation. So in some ways it's very beautiful, Aries, but it's also very profoundly transformational, and you might be dealing with a lot of discomfort through the process. And they may not know it's even coming because a lot of the energies are hidden. But Aries, it's your responsibility here. This is how it looks in this reading, to take the loving position, hold to, basically do the loving thing. Let's just put it that way. All right, Aries, I hope this makes sense to you. I hope you get something out of it. I hope I didn't touch any nerves or hurt your feelings or anything. It's just a little energy reading for Aries from Tarot Lumination. No specific details. You can reinterpret it however you want. Please watch for your sun and moon and rising. Please watch the other two videos, the introduction and behind the scenes. And I wish you all the best through July. Okay, dear Aries? All right? Okay. Thank you so much for visiting. I hope I didn't scare you. Bye-bye.